Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're going to take a lap around the house. As you can see, I'm missing a front fender. From the intro, it's pretty obvious I smacked a tree and it just shattered into 1,000 pieces. So I got another one in the garage, just hadn't put it on yet. And the reason I hadn't put it on yet is earlier this morning I had ridden up north with a couple friends. I decided to leave around noontime. I wanted to get home and get some things done around the house while I had some free time. Once I got home, the weather was so good and there wasn't that much snow on the ground, so I decided to take another couple laps around the house. So I'm on the single track that I put in myself last year. All this property is owned by a local farmer. I talked to him when I moved in and bought the property I'm currently living at, and he said, yeah, you can play in the woods all you want, just stay off the fields. So it's a perfect compromise. I had a really cool set of really tight single track in here last year, but as you can see, it's really thinned out. They had cut a ton of trees, and all they're leaving behind is the maples. I guess in the future they want to put a sugar bush in, make that Vermont maple syrup. So the weather that I'm riding in right now, it's about 10 degrees. There was no wind, the sun was out. It was actually really nice. You layer up, and almost like winter riding's better than summer riding because there's no leaves to block your view. If you got studs and spikes on your tires, the traction is really good, and you don't really overheat. It may not look it, but those little ledges right there are super steep. It'll be interesting to see how fast the speeds pick up once the snow is gone and the trail has been burned in a little bit more. I'm really only in second gear getting around here in the wintertime, but I know in the summer third gear comfortably is what the pace I'm usually running. So lap times right now are like 10 minutes or so, maybe a little more than 10 minutes. I don't doubt that once the ground thaws out and I can actually start trusting my tires a little bit more, we'll be dipping into the 8-minute, maybe 7:30-minute 7.5-minute lap times. There's a couple alternate routes I have to take here in the winter because there's just not enough traction. Like right here, I go to the right. Generally, I scoop up to the left where it gets really steep, and there's a pile of real slick, mossy rocks up there that make it like extra Graham Jarvis-y. So I can't even barely get up this section here. But when it's decent out, when it's somewhat dry, what the line I'm taking right now is a cakewalk. So I'm excited to see once it dries out just how much more difficult it's going to be. Or maybe it's going to be easier, but the lines will get harder, so I guess it'll equal out. It's pretty obvious I'm new to the YouTube game. For those of you who have watched the last video or two, let me know what you think. Should I put music in? Should I leave it raw sound? Am I not on the pipe enough? Is it too boring? Is my voice terrible? I can take criticism. I got some thick skin, so let me know if something I can do better, something that I'm doing that annoys you. I'm open to critique. This will be my 5th year living in Vermont. And for the first 3 years, I didn't know anybody who rode dirt bikes. I mean, it honestly took me 3 years to find a community of guys who actually wants to go out and ride trails. Little did I know, there's a ton of people around here, so I'm trying to build relationships. I'm trying to get to know as many people as I can. I want to share the trails that I have. I love an invite here and there to get to ride other people's trails. There's a handful of guys who have been more than accommodating, have had me over, we'll cook lunch, we'll get together. Like, it's just a good camaraderie of riders. I never really grew up racing moto, but I was in the motocross scene at an early age, hanging out with friends who raced. And the woods riders, especially the guys up here, just are so awesome. Like, everybody has your back, everybody's there to help you. You get stuck on a hill, yeah, they may throw some stuff at you as a joke, but they're never going to leave you there. So the family of dirt biking has relieved so much stress in my life, and I can't say thanks enough. I guess one of the big things I want to do is share the experience that I have here riding in Vermont. I'd like to have other people over. I'd love an invite, to other people's places, but I'm trying to build kind of a compound of woods, moto, hard enduro, and as you'll see in later videos, I'm starting to put together like an amateur supercross track in my house as well. So we'll see how many different types of people we can get over. I'd love to host an event once a week throughout the summer where we get a handful of guys out here to just kind of put together a small series. Let me know what you think. Like I said, I've only lived in Vermont for about 5 years now, and when I was originally going to move here, I was worried that there wasn't going to be anybody riding dirt bikes. So what does anybody do? They scour YouTube. I looked for dirt biking in Vermont, motocross in Vermont, enduro in Vermont, and there were a couple different websites and a few videos here and there, but everything was super old and out of date. There was one video, however, that stuck out. I think it was literally called Dirt Biking in Vermont, and it was the very beginnings of the Zach Attack 1 channel with Zach and his friend Tom, and I don't know where they were to this day. I still am unsure, but I remember it being those two guys riding their KTMs up and down a mountain by their deer camp, maybe. I honestly don't know. It might have been like 2012, 2013, something like that. And I thought, okay, all right, so people ride dirt bikes. It's not so bad. And then little do I know, I'm up here in Vermont and I'm looking for a bike to buy, and I found one of Tom's KTMs for sale on Craigslist, and I ended up getting in contact with him. This is a couple years ago to this day. And ever since, I didn't buy his bike, but we've now ridden together a handful of times. Dude's awesome. He's got a house in Vermont, and I've been over riding his house a few times. So hopefully, guys like that, I would have never found them if it wasn't for them sharing their experiences on YouTube. It was an old video. That was like, if you've ever been a longtime follower of that channel, that's when they were still doing their downhill talks. Totally strange concept. They do a couple fun things, but they'll ride to the top of a hill and then shut the motors off, put it in neutral, and coast to the bottom. I thought that was pretty funny, so maybe Zach will bring that back. I don't know. Maybe I'll have to bring it back with Tom someday. Maybe we'll all get together and ride. I don't know. I have yet to meet this Zach guy, but like I said, none of this would have been possible if I didn't search the YouTube world, and that's kind of what I want to do, is share what I'm doing, and hopefully down the road maybe somebody will contact me and say, hey, I got a place to ride, or hey, are you still riding? If everything goes to plan, yeah, I want to ride until the day I die. So reach out, comment. If you got a bike and you want to take a rip, let me know. And this just about wraps up one lap of the single track out by my house. So if you feel like we want to come out and ride, reach out to me. If you have comments that I can do something better, let me know. If you like the raw engine noise thing, we'll keep doing that. If you think I need some music, we'll work some into the mix. If you're still with us, thanks for hanging around, and we'll see you in the next ride.